Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Sarita. I hope your holiday was amazing. If you celebrate Christmas, if you're celebrating Hanukkah, you're still celebrating. You celebrate Kwanzaa, it's coming. No, it starts today, 26th. We're all celebrating. It's great, right? All right, so I was gonna do a video yesterday for Christmas Day, and I just did not feel good the entire day. So I didn't end up doing much of anything except wrap presents for upcoming family events. And man, after about the 17th or 18th present, it just gets to be a lot. Another red letter thing that happened yesterday is my KitchenAid broke, and it displeases me very much because, well, I mean, anything breaking that's large scale like that is not great. I do a ton of baking at the holiday season, and I make these amazing ginger molasses cookies. They are my specialty. And my family now comes to expect them for Christmas, like boxes and boxes of them. So I was gonna start doing that yesterday, but I felt so bad and I was being careless, and I thought the KitchenAid bowl was attached the right way, and it wasn't. Turned on the blender, threw the bowl up into the KitchenAid mixer, and within like 2 seconds, I mean, before I could just turn the thing off, it had stripped the gears on the KitchenAid. I mean, it was just gone. It was like totaling your car in 2 seconds, right? So that wasn't great. And it means that today I had to go out the day after Christmas and shop for a KitchenAid, which I didn't love, but I have a brand new KitchenAid now. And actually, I feel as though I could almost do an entire video on KitchenAid, the company, and especially the history of the mixer. So, I mean, we've had one in my home probably for like the last, 20, 25, 30 years, like crazy. And I know very well like every single iteration of these KitchenAid mixers. And they used to just be the crank, pull up, pull down. They call it the lift bowl. That's how all of them were. And then they had like the fancy tilt kind. There was a moment though where KitchenAid started doing kind of a cash grab. And we know how that is here in the candle community. They were doing so well. They were ubiquitous. Everybody had a KitchenAid, and they started kind of resting on their laurels and putting out shitty products. So there was this whole period, I would say probably about, I don't know, maybe 7 years ago, something like that. And there was an entire 10-year run where these KitchenAid mixers were cute as cute can be. Every color of the rainbow, tilting up, tilting down, gorgeous, etc. But the wattage of the motors themselves was like very, very low. And increasingly, people started complaining because they would be like mixing cookies and there would be like smoke. And the KitchenAid would just be like, I can't handle it. It wasn't even like heavy duty bread churning. Like we're talking about just like cookies and brownies. Like these fancy, cute as cute can be KitchenAids just were not up to the challenge. Well, the backlash from consumers was so loud and so protracted for years that I've noticed now that KitchenAids, even the standard ones, the wattage is starting to increase. So anyway, close parentheses, the KitchenAid that I had, which is this beautiful limited edition pistachio color, was one of the better ones that you could get, and it's only 325 watts. So while I don't love having totaled it in like 2 seconds because of a user error, it really wasn't the strongest KitchenAid in the book. So I'm really happy now that they are selling not even just their professional and commercial models, but some of the lower ones too have stronger wattage than they had before. So anyway, for any of you that might find that interesting, every company in every field has many of the same issues as the candle companies do, of like decreasing quality, consumer backlash, then righting the ship, putting out more quality product, buying back the consumer confidence. It's not just like a candle company, candle brand kind of thing. All right, anyway, I have 2 Homeworx candles for you that are somewhat seasonal, and I bought them both at I think this one was Home Goods and this one was Marshall's because it says Marshall's. This is one that I've never burned before and I don't see that often. It is Orange Clove and it's got this beautiful, beautiful label. And really very prominently is star anise, of course, with cinnamon sticks and spruce. And very bizarrely, there's really very little clove to be seen. That said, it is primarily clove and orange. Yeah, I would say mostly clove and orange. And I really wasn't sure about this candle when I first got it. I kept, smelling it, putting it back on the shelf, smelling it, putting it back on the shelf, not quite sure, and I ended up just going ahead and getting it, throwing it in the cart and being like, you don't have that many orange pomander candles right now in your house. You might want one, mix it up with the trees and the vanilla and the woods and all that sort of thing. So I went with it. I don't know that I loved this candle. I have to be perfectly honest with you. So I don't know the history on it. I don't know how long it's been in the collection. Like I said, I don't usually see it that often in various different retailers. The notes on it are sparkling orange, crushed clove buds, spiced honey, and exotic woods. Yeah, so this is not just a straight up orange pomander, although there is a great deal of orange and a very heavy amount of cloves. Heavy, heavy. And in fact, I would say more clove than it is orange. This is one of those candles that actually I could have used a little bit more orange in it, although the orange is certainly there and it's welcome. This says spiced honey. And it might be honey, but between us, I think it's amber. And we've had this conversation before. Harry Slatkin uses amber a lot. And amber and honey, they're kind of good stand-ins for each other because there's a very honeyed aspect to amber and there's a very amberish aspect to honey. But to me, this note here is less gourmand and more perfumey. Cologne-y, and it's not a cologne candle, don't get me wrong. It's just not a gourmand honey note. It's kind of heavy, it's kind of brassy. I think it's an amber, and especially given how often Harry Slatkin likes to reach for that amber. And for me, it's the amber note that is kind of ruining this candle, because I would say that the two heaviest aspects of this candle are, in fact, clove and amber. And then orange is just kind of like brightening things up, and it's a very welcome relief, frankly, from the amber and the clove. There might be some wood. It's just kind of in a very kind of incensey kind of way though. This is kind of a mid-range candle. It's a mid-range candle. And the orange note does press a little bit up toward the higher range, but it's not a full-fledged high. It's really just a very loud mid-range candle, and mostly loud with incredibly heavy, clove-heavy spices and incensey notes, and then mostly amber. And it was the amber that I don't know. I don't know what other word to use except brassy. It was just kind of brassy, and I don't know. I just didn't find it pleasant. I did not find it pleasant. I found it somewhat off-putting. And I don't even love orange candles. And so for me to want more of the orange kind of tells you how overwhelming those other notes are in it. I know it's unlike me to say this, but I wish it was kind of a straight up orange pomander. I almost wish it was far more gourmandy than it is, because this amber note was just not working for me. It really wasn't. And it's unusual because the amber notes that Harry Slatkin uses are usually beautiful and light. They're rich, but they're light and very, they blend well with other elements, whatever those elements are. He's really a master with amber. This candle is just kind of all of the stereotypical amber notes. That said, if you like an amber candle, you may very much like this candle. You know what I mean? It performed decently, which you would kind of expect from the profile of those fragrance notes. In the open concept, it was at least a 6.5. It may even have been more than that, 6.57, something like that. It was about that in the back bedroom too, probably a 6.5 to a 7, pushing a 7 though in the more closed in medium sized area. Did not even bother trying this in a smaller space than that, in a guest bathroom or something. It would just have been well too overwhelming. It was fine. It was a fine candle. It's not one that I would repurchase. And if you like more of a traditional orange pomander, I don't know that you're gonna love this one. I really think you have to be a pretty heavy spice and amber fan to like this candle. So there you go. But like I said, performed fairly decently. It was an orange wax and it burned pretty much all the way down, no problems. Very minimal soot. So yeah, fine, absolutely fine. Not one I would repurchase. Friends, this one I would. This was fantastic. So this is actually a 3-wick that I purchased from Home Goods, and it did get a little bit messy, especially toward the end. And I burned it to the very bitter end, and one of those burns, it couldn't quite pull out before it extinguished itself, but yeah, it was fantastic. All right, so Tops Glisten. Tops Glisten, the fragrance notes are fir balsam, pine needles, woodland cedar, and white snow musk. Whatever the white snow is, who knows? Balsam, pine, and cedar. And it is all those things, but and it does have musk in it. There's no question. I mean, it's a conceptual, it's a tree conceptual. But whatever is being offered to us here in the euphemism white snow, it's the white snow element that's special here. And I think it's a little bit of ozone, maybe even a little bit of like just a whisper of citrus. And it's just kind of the citrus or that fruity element. It's like the fruity finish that Harry Slatkin sometimes gives, especially floral candles. It's a fruity finish on the balsam that just lights it up a little bit and makes it a little bit more yellow-green, if that makes sense. Oh, it's so pleasing. It is so pleasing. Yeah, like I said, it's a kind of a tree conceptual, lots of balsam, a lot of balsam, and it performed like a champ. This candle, this 3-wick candle was at least a 7 in the open concept. It was fantastic. I have to say that it smells like the best version or like the best collage of a million different tree conceptuals that Harry Slatkin does during the holiday season. I think I said this the other day about a crinkle candle, where it was like, this candle just smells like a pretty standard Kringle holiday candle. It's got all the distinctive marks to it. I don't know that it's more original than any of the other Kringle candles that kind of smell a little bit like this. There's an entire range of like Kringle tree holiday candles that just have kind of a distinguishing Kringle smell to them. And yes, one is nuanced a little this way or leans a little bit that way, but really it's just kind of 17 versions of one fragrance. If there's any candle company that is that way, it is Harry Slatkin's Homeworx candle company. And I am kind of surprised, frankly, that the Homeworx doesn't get more slack for this, or it doesn't get more clapback about this. Back when Sean had Hearthside, had his channel on, a year ago or so, I remember he used to drag Bath and Body Works, drag them. Every time a new candle would come out, he would say, no ingenuity, absolutely no ingenuity. He would say, this, I can tell you right now, this is this candle, and they've blended it together and maybe tweaked it. There's nothing new under the sun for Bath and Body Works, If there's any candle company that really kind of deserves that gentle criticism though, I really do think it is Homeworx. Because especially in the holiday range that Harry Slatkin has, I sometimes feel like I am smelling 17 versions of the same candle. And it is hard to keep them all straight. At Marshall's, at TJ Maxx, under the tree, and Christmas embers, and around the halls, and, you know, through the forest, and, you know, you can't even... You can't even keep track all of the different tree fragrances that he has that are a few shades different than the other one. And I do think most all of them are above average in terms of being fragrances. I really do. They are fantastic fragrances. He has got a certain kind of smell, a certain kind of genre, a certain kind of profile. Most of them are kind of tree conceptuals as opposed to just being straight up tree, like Fresh Balsam from Bath & Body Works. They often have a little bit of amber in them, a little bit of musk, a little bit of ozone, a little bit of citrus, a little bit of berry, a little bit of you know what. But honestly, I just kind of feel like I'm smelling the same fragrance over and over and over again. Sometimes there's a little mint. Sometimes there's a little eucalyptus. It's kind of the same thing. Like if you had a color wheel of like, that would be great actually. You know, like the mints and the eucalyptuses down here, the berries and the citruses up here, and then the ones in the middle that are like vanilla and musk in here and ozone. Like it would just be like a color wheel of tree conceptuals from Harry Slatkin with somewhat whimsical names, you know, and Snowtip Pine and Snowtip Fraser and First Frost and First Snowfall, and like the names start sounding the same, honestly. So okay, close parentheses on that. Like I said, I think most of them are above average fragrances. The problem is that they're just a dime a dozen. Personally, I think that he should just limit the number of them and let them be a little bit more distinguished from each other, you know? Like maybe we just need like 1 or 2 eucalyptus ones, maybe 1 or 2 fruity citrus and spruce, maybe 1 or 2, you know what I mean? Rather than like 27. It's a lot. And then you're trying to remember, did this one only come out at QVC? This one only come out in like harryslatkin.com. Has this one only been seen at Marshall's, TJ Maxx? Like it just kind of seems a little bit like a cash grab. And while most of the fragrances are above average, the performance is not above average. There's only a few that really perform quite well. This is all my way of saying that this tree Tops Glisten here, which actually is a brand new candle, if I'm not mistaken, a brand new candle that was the TSV QVC last year, okay? I didn't get it then. The only one that I got was the Wishing for Christmas. No, I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas. Dreaming of a White Christmas. That's the one that I got last year. Remember I reviewed it for Christmas in July. That is a fantastic fragrance. Stunning and gorgeous with a throw of about -3. No, I'm exaggerating. I think it was +3, but it was definitely in the 3 range, no matter what position you put it in your house. And I remember saying at the time, like, what is the point of having a gorgeous fragrance if it's gonna come in at a 2.5 or a 3? Like, no, that fragrance was incredible. I did not buy this one, Tops Glisten, and this one came out brand new in the same collection because, you know, you're looking at the notes and you're like balsam, pine, cedar, and white snow musk. It sounds like another one of his 27 candles, and what is it in this candle that really stands out? I didn't end up buying it, right? This candle is indeed, it's indeed in the continuum, in the color wheel of Harry Slatkin tree fragrances. It's not a groundbreaker. It doesn't do anything out of the ordinary, but what it is it does seem to be the best version of about 12 of them. So I think he could retire a full 12 candles that are very similar to this one and just put this one on the shelf. Just put this one on. This is a winner. This is an absolute winner amongst those tree conceptuals that are mostly balsam and pine forward with a little bit of ozone that makes you feel outdoorsy, but not a chill, not a true mint or eucalyptus, just a little bit of ozone and then some musk and a fruity finish. Like I said, probably a full 12 candles could be retired that don't perform as well as this and are shades of this, but not quite it. You know how that goes? Where there's just one candle that's like very similar to X, but better, rounder, fuller, like just, yeah. It's like this one is the black and white version, this one is the color version. Retire the black and white version, Harry. We don't need all 27, it's overwhelming, right? I'm here to tell you that Tops Glisten is fantastic. And I was scouring, YouTube because I thought, who has reviewed this candle? Who has told us this is fantastic? A few of the brand ambassadors did end up hauling it originally from that TSV, but then they never came back and really talked about it. This is a fantastic candle. It performs excellently. And like I said, smells like about 12 other candles put together. And it's just fantastic. No, it's not gonna smell like something you haven't smelled from Harry Slatkin 12 times, but it is going to be the best version of those 12. And so I highly recommend it. And I love the sweet little name, Tops Glisten. I think it's really cute, really pretty. So yeah, this is 1000% one that I will repurchase. And in my trawl of Homeworx candles, I've gotten through a lot of his Christmas tree conceptuals this year. It's a real standout. It's one that I would buy again. There was another one last year that I burned in January that I would repurchase too. And I think it was, again, I think he's got like a snow tip Fraser, snow tip pine. But this one was like, it was a snow tipped pine. It wasn't a Fraser, it was a pine. See what I mean about the, it's too much. It's too much. It was the snow tip. You can find it in my Homeworx playlist. That was a good candle too. It was a good January candle. But it was more pine than it was Fraser, but it was gorgeous candle and very, again, strong performer. When you have as many tree conceptuals that are all kind of a dime a dozen, all above average, all smell about the same from Harry Slatkin, you start selecting them on the basis of performance and roundness of fragrance. Yes? Choose the one that seems to be kind of like a combination of several other ones that are coming in at half strength or half fragrance. Choose the one that is the full fragrance and that is the great, performance. Let the others go. You make a note of it. You make a note of it in your phone. You make a note wherever else. This is the tree candle that kind of stands in for these other ones that are close, but no cigar, if you know what I mean. All right. I'm sorry, I probably have beaten a dead horse in that harangue somewhere, but anyway, I hope the message isn't lost in this, which is that Tops Glisten is fantastic. And I missed it last year because it wasn't one that I bought from TSV. It just looked like an uninteresting one. This is why you have candle reviewers who burn these kinds of things, and are like, actually, this one is the standout amongst about 6 or 7 that are very similar, So that was worth our time, Harry. That was worth our time. That TSV was worth our time. This new candle is worth our time. And we can retire a lot of other ones that are similar now. So thank you. Go back to the drawing board for Dreaming of a White Christmas, because that is a fantastic fragrance. But oh my gosh, it has to be coming in at least a 5, a 5.5. And even 5.5 is not great. I mean, we're really kind of grading on a curve to say that 5.5 is decent. At another time with better and more consistent performance, 5.5 would be weak. But please don't give us a gorgeous fragrance that comes in at a 3. Like, just no. Speaking of which, I still have a Homeworx haul that I need to share with you off camera here. And I should probably say a few things about how Homeworx year went. I am not a brand ambassador, and I didn't buy that many new candles from Harry Slatkin this year, but I did buy some, and I kind of had my eye on the rhythm of what happened at Homeworx. A lot of it though will just be my own vague impression though. I probably, of all the candle companies, I had my finger more on, and I paid much closer attention to Bath and Body Works. And I have a Bath and Body Works store in my, down the street. So it was much easier for me to kind of keep abreast of what went on at Bath and Body Works this year. But I did have a good sense of what happened at Kringle this year as well. It's a smaller community there. And there are a lot of brand ambassadors on YouTube from Kringle. So it was kind of hard to miss what was going on at Kringle this year. Homeworx, like I said, I kind of have a vague sense of how the year went. So maybe at the end of the haul that I do for you, like in a couple days, I will talk about how I think, Homeworx did this year, and where, of course, they have room for improvement in the next. Thank you so much for joining me, my friends. Let me know what you think. Is Orange Clove a long-standing candle? Have you burned it before? What do you think? And did you pick up Tops Glisten either this year at like one of the retailers, or did you take it home from TSV? Did it perform well? Is this just a felicitous anomaly, or just kind of a random thing that I got this weird 3-wick from TJ Maxx and it performed great, but if I go back and repurchase it, I won't be able to duplicate the same experience? Gosh, I hope that's not the case. Thank you for joining me, my friends. If anything is available, I'll link it down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.